In the top stories, Premier Brantley says resolution or dissolution, Prime Minister Harris to respond to communique by April 20th, Ministry of Health denies oxygen inadequacy at JNF Hospital, and Federation intent on cutting emissions by using cleaner energy resources. We'll be back with the details after the break.
Use BioCare Lab Strong Ends products to supercharge your hair with deep lasting hydration from nature's most amazing moisturizers, raw moisturizing honey, and conditioning shea butter. These ingredients pull moisture from the hair to boost, strengthen, and restore the oldest and weakest parts of your hair, your ends, helping to keep them stronger. Wow, beautiful hair. Strong Ends. Dry, damaged, breaking hair and no hair growth? Strong ends? Whoa! I'm not cutting this hair for anything. Weak, thinning edges due to weaves and braids. Strong ends? Longer and free of split ends. Get supercharged from roots to end with BioCare Lab Strong Ends Honey and Shea Butter Infused Relaxer and Hair Growth Product. Available retail at CNC Superfoods on the Bay Road and wholesale at CNC Trading on the CAP Southville Industrial Park. Telephone 465-4081.
Glam out in the best names and designer frames with Quartz Optical. Buy one stylish frame and get 50% off your second pair. Sport your favorite Armani, Converse, Vogue, and many more frames for less. Get an additional 10% off and pay nothing for 30 days when you pay with Ready Finance. Book your free eye examination appointment online today on www.quartzoptical.com. Don't miss the opportunity to glam out, only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see. Offer available while stocks last. Special conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. I'm Mervyn Thompson. Locally, a response to a communique sent to Prime Minister Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris by Premier of Nevis Honorable Mark Brantley and the Deputy Prime Minister Honorable Sean Richards is expected by Wednesday of this week, according to Premier Brantley. In an address on Saturday night, where he partially chronicled disagreements among the governing three-party coalition, his comments followed a meeting held in the week. Premier Brantley stated that concerns with attacks on sitting members of Parliament, keeping promises to the electorate, and transparency within the cabinet are reasons for the current state of the administration.
To this end, and consistent with our ongoing efforts to save our team unity government, the Honourable Sean Richards and I have delivered a written communication to the Honourable Prime Minister, setting out our position for a path forward. We have taken the unprecedented step of putting a deadline of Wednesday, April 20th, 2022 for a response from the Prime Minister, barring which we can only conclude that he and his team have no interest or desire to save this team unity government. We shall therefore know by Wednesday whether we can achieve resolution or whether we face dissolution.
The address immediately follows two different addresses on the same matter by Prime Minister Harris and Deputy Prime Minister Richards, both on Thursday night. In PM Harris's address, he spoke of including the World Bank in discussions to equally distribute resources from the Citizenship by Investment Program, CBI, among other things. Premier Brantley said that the public displays of contention of late are moments of which they are not proud and call for togetherness.
Team unity was designed to emphasize the team and the oneness of purpose. It was designed to bring the people of St. Kitts and Nevis together and to end the decades-old tribalism and parochialism in our country. I remind us all that there is no I in team and no me in unity. Alas, I regret to say that along the way we have lost our way. After years of efforts internally to resolve issues, the lack of commitment to finding resolution has now created a public spectacle of which none of us can be proud.
These addresses follow a series of meetings between the party leaders of the People's Labour Party, the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement, and the revelation by Deputy Prime Minister of his absence to cabinet meetings in the last 2 to 3 months. The Ministry of Health is denying claims made on social media of a lack of oxygen at the JNF General Hospital in St. Kitts. In two separate incidents in as many days, families took to social media saying that loved ones died from asthmatic episodes and that there was no oxygen in the hospital in one instance, nor on the ambulance in another instance. The ministry said in a statement on Saturday, quote, "The ministry categorically denies these claims. The claims are spurious and mischievous, and the ministry condemns this falsehood as an attempt to foster negative sensationalism to bring the institution and the ministry into disrepute. The ministry hereby emphatically informs the general public that there is and has always been adequate amounts of oxygen at the hospital." End quote. The statement continued that the ministry extended condolences to the families and was adamant that the deaths were not associated with a lack of oxygen supply, as there are, quote, adequate supplies of essential resources at all times at the JNF General Hospital, and it promotes the highest quality of care always for best health outcomes, end quote. On Saturday, in a Facebook Live video, a family member of the first victim said that she assisted in transporting the now deceased for a portion of the journey to the hospital after she was alerted to his condition via phone call. The ambulance met them on their way to the hospital, and she further assisted in putting him into the ambulance in a responsive state. She said that she left the area and traveled to the hospital awaiting the arrival of the ambulance. It came sometime later, at which point the family was told that the patient died. Later that day, in another incident, a family member of the second deceased patient claimed that it was a toddler who had been hospitalized for some days and died from an asthmatic episode. After both videos were published, many citizens took to social media to share their views on the incidents. And finally, on the local scene, with greenhouse gas emissions at 98%, St. Kitts and Nevis is intent on promoting and using cleaner energy resources. According to Energy Minister Honorable Sean Richards, those emissions are broken down into 60% coming from the burning of diesel for electricity production and 30% from gasoline and diesel for transportation. During his presentation at the launch of the National Determined Contribution NDC Implementation Plan at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort on April 12th, he said that the Team Unity administration intends to expand power generation through renewable resources. These resources include solar rooftop, utility-scale power, wind, and geothermal. There is buy-in already for the initiative, with companies such as TDC and SL Hosford having installed more than 1.5 megawatts of solar power between them, and there is also a 0.75 megawatts solar farm at the airport, a 0.5 megawatt solar farm for the St. Kitts Electricity Company, SCELEC, and a 1 megawatt solar farm at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, according to Minister Richards. Coming up, we'll have another look at the way forward for the Team Unity as stated by leaders and stories that made the last week. Stay tuned.
Here are your
Experienced drivers, you've ruled the road. Now you can enjoy the rewards with Beacon's 50-plus car insurance plan. Get hassle-free sign-up, affordable fixed rates, and free windscreen cover. Call Kane Agencies Limited at 465-3333 for a quote, or log on to beacon.co.tt and get driving with Beacon today.
There is no better time to discover what your National Bank Visa debit or black cards can do.
Mimi, what's that song?
It can get you out of a pickle. Using my National Bank Visa card is fast, secure, and convenient.
Cashless SKN is our new lifestyle choice. National Bank, always here.
Glam out in the best names and designer frames with Quartz Optical. Buy one stylish frame and get 50% off your second pair. Sport your favorite Armani, Converse, Vogue, and many more frames for less. Get an additional 10% off and pay nothing for 30 days when you pay with Ready Finance. Book your free eye examination appointment online today on www.quartzoptical.com. Don't miss the opportunity to glam out, only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see. Offer available while stocks last. Special conditions apply.
Welcome back. We now bring you stories of the past week. Following the meeting of the three party leaders of the Team Unity construct at government headquarters on Thursday, Prime Minister and leader of the People's Labour Party, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris, announced efforts to improve issues raised. Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the People's Action Movement, however, Honorable Sean Richards, shared another view. Here's that story.
Following the meeting of the three party leaders of Team Unity at government headquarters on Thursday, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris has announced a framework to address issues raised. In a national address on Thursday night, the Prime Minister said the framework will introduce a code of conduct for the better functioning of Cabinet. He also spoke of new regulations for ministries and plans to review portfolio assignments.
I further propose that all ministries should be subject to greater accountability to the Cabinet through regular reporting so that members may be better apprised of the workings of the entire government. In response to demands that portfolios be reassigned, I committed to undertake a review of the makeup of the Cabinet in due course with a view to improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the government as a whole.
The Prime Minister also announced that the budgetary support for Nevis has been increased and there are plans to engage an international financial agency to guide fair revenue sharing between both islands.
I informed colleagues that further progress has been made with the World Bank giving its consent to undertake a study to advise an equitable revenue sharing arrangements between the federal government and the Nevis Island administration. In the interim, the budgetary support to our sister island of Nevis has been increased as per the request of the Honorable Premier.
He said that while every issue of concern to members cannot be addressed and resolved at this moment, he remains open to further discussions. Meanwhile, leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Sean Richards, says he is dissatisfied with the outcome of the meeting of party leaders of Team Unity. In a video statement on his Facebook page, Minister Richards said although there was some progress in addressing concerns, it was not enough.
While there was some minor progress on a few issues, it was not what the country needed for an urgent resolution. Unfortunately, the gulf between what is required to save the partnership and the preferences of the Prime Minister remain large and troubling. Both the leaders of PAM and CCM presented reasonable proposals that we felt would have adequately addressed important issues of national interest, such as good governance, transparency, and accountability, but it turned out to be a bridge too wide for the Prime Minister to cross.
He said even after this second meeting, there has been no resolution to addressing the issues of distrust.
Sadly, this second time around, we still could not see eye to eye on the decisive steps that are needed to ensure that repairs are undertaken to address the broken down trust.
Minister Richards said he will meet with his party caucus in an emergency session and seek input to decide on the way forward. PAM will provide a statement on the definitive way forward for them, he said.
After an incident involving a Russian St. Kitts and Nevis citizen at the Cotton Ground Beach in Nevis, the Nevis Island administration issued a statement. Here's more.
Following an incident in which a woman protested activities on the Cotton Ground Bay in Nevis on Saturday, Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis, issued a statement. The statement said, quote, "A very disturbing video of young primary school children practicing for their annual inter-primary school meet on a public beach being interfered with by a woman who sought to disrupt their use of the beach has been brought to the attention of the Nevis Island administration." Mr. Brantley continued, quote, "I wish to be clear that all beaches on the island of Nevis are public property and therefore free for the use and enjoyment of all members of the public. Those who visit our island or choose to live on our island are welcomed and will experience no warmer or more genuine hospitality anywhere else in the world. I wish to be pellucid, however, that our generous hospitality must not be abused," end quote. He described the woman's behavior as unacceptable and offensive that, quote, "must be condemned unreservedly." He said, "I gather that the woman involved and her spouse have apologized for their actions to the coaches, parents, and students. I have nevertheless asked the Ministry of Education to investigate and report further on the incident. I am to hope that there will never ever be a repeat of such behavior on Nevis, whether by her or anyone else," end quote. In videos of the incident posted online, the lady observed the athletes who were training along the sand for relay races. She then proceeds to lay on the beach in the way of the children running, causing one child to jump over her. It is alleged that she phoned the police. Calls to the Charlestown and Cotton Ground police stations in Nevis confirmed that an anonymous call was lodged. The officer said that someone tried to lay claim to the beach. According to the officer, it was later settled as the woman's husband got involved in calming the situation. Police are still looking into an allegation of a payment made by the woman to the St. Thomas's Primary School, the school that the children attend.
After the break, murder-suicide suspected in husband and wife's death, and Germany enacts new refugee laws learned from Syrian exodus.